Kirkwood is an awesome institution. It's an awesome place to work. And we sort of pride ourselves on being leaders ahead of the curve. We're the leaders in so many different fields. So it's hard for me to understand as a minority why we're not trying to be more aggressive and be leaders with respect to diversity.
We have a lot of Black students at Kirkwood, and as I learned earlier in one of the sessions today, Black students at Kirkwood are sort of statistically not doing as well as other demographics. So this is a very particular and important demographic to sort of think about. How can we serve these students better?
Black and African American students have a very low graduation rate compared to white students. Actually, it's 3% graduation rate in the 150% of time versus 23%. Now, neither number is stellar, but 3% is obviously quite low.
We're going to see this wave of minority students in another 5, 10, 15 years. So we've got the time to be able to make these small incremental changes as an institution so that by the time we have these huge waves of populations, we're ready for it. Our faculty are already culturally trained. They are aware of how different population groups learn, et cetera. They're on it. Right now, we're not all there. And so we've got a really great opportunity to be able to really make a big difference. The idea that I sort of had was to come up with a thread. A way for us to start having these dialogues about race, to have dialogues about minorities in our faculty, minorities in our students, in our classrooms, et cetera, but in a way that was going to be a safe environment for faculty to be able to talk about these issues.
I facilitated a session this afternoon titled Danger of a Single Story. It took Chimamanda Adichie's concept of a single story and used that as a springboard for a conversation, really a way for the participants to reflect upon the ways in which we all have single stories of others and the ways in which others' single stories of us have affected us.
I went to a different perspective, college experiences of minority faculty and staff, and I was also a panelist in this discussion. Just being the only person of color in my class, like I felt a lot of isolation.
So I'm this white guy, and I want to make that kind of community, but how can I do that?
To me, in my opinion, I think it's just about being yourself and then just showing that you care.
Yes, have support, but at the same time, don't change your expectations.
And I think that it's good to hear from the minority faculty, the very few that we have, our experiences as faculty, and then also our experiences as students, because that information can help to kind of inform how to help some of the minority students here at Kirkwood.
I led the session responding to voices from Chicago Public Housing. The idea was planted when I was in the culturally responsive classroom last year, and I was looking for a text as a way to bring us into these stories. It's difficult to talk about the stories of others unless we have a place to anchor those. Otherwise, we just go into stereotypes and just suppositions and those people and that kind of thing. And I thought if we started with a text that began with people telling their stories their way, it would allow us to kind of open up those conversations.
This afternoon I gave a presentation on being Black at Kirkwood, a quantitative analysis.
Once again, this is what's in the data. This is self-reported. We have that big unknown group, but that's what I was seeing.
I think for us as an institution, the first thing that we did was collaborative learning days. And I think that was good because at least it got people thinking. So it planted a few seeds. There were people I did not realize that were diversity allies that actually were on board with this. I said, oh my gosh, this is great.
After the culturally responsive classroom, I'd feel like a little bit of momentum. Like, okay, we can go somewhere. We're going in the right direction. But the collaborative learning days I never felt like a push. That was like the biggest forceful push.
We had this momentum. We need to keep that momentum going. And the question is, how do you do that? You know, what's a what's a good vehicle, who are the people that we need to step up to be able to do that. So that's hard. That's hard for an institution like this. But I know we have the potential to do it. We do, because we have, like I said, rock star people that work at this institution.